iSpani.
I stand up, I get up, mapelu moya shona kona. Shobuluza focus, come on, be a go-getter. Ashona kona, stay focused. Opportunities, you gotta get this, you gotta fight with skills.
Githi savinjo mani siyada savinjo lwandle khona da githi isazozala letsotsi zosivimba githi eyethu lendlela ngoba ke sihasila day and night bafethu kodwa sonke siyazi ukuthi yinde lendlela, so keep it moving, keeping it moving uhlelo bafethu njengoba ngithi sanibonani lapha emakhaya and salute over hustlers igaba umekumele lishomo uhlelo iSpani. Ngithi uyazi la ekhaya sihlala sikhombisa abantu bangena kanjani endaweni yomsebenzi. Ngithi namuhla ke sishintshe izinto sifuna ukukhombisa ukuthi kwenzakalani uma usaqedile ke i-shadowing program yakhe noma ke internship yakhe. Ngithi samba nentokazi lana ihasa lethu uLerato Bangeni, intokazi ke eseqede ke unyaka wonke lapha i-cadet reporter at the Star newspaper. Manje sekhona into ekhona, sekhona isikhundla esivelile lapha njenge full-time general reporter. Intokazi ithi yasifuna lesikhundla njengoba ke inothando lokubhala nokuxwayisa umphakathi about igilamkhuba bafethu. Wena lapha ekhaya mhlawumbe uyazibuza ukuthi kungani intokazi ifuna ukusebenza leshoshovu. Ngithi asibuze yena njengoba ngithi whoop, there she is, whoop, there she is. Name Lerato Bangeni, age 22, education NSC, with bachelor's degree entry. Social qualification, second year BA journalism BN program. Global work experience, cadet program journalism. Position applied for junior reporter.
Lerato ke motho o ratang batho, ratang ho bala, ratang ho ngwala, ratang ho tshega, ke rata dijo. Ke rata mosebetsi wa ka mo ke sebetsang teng. Ke motho o naganang gagolo like gore batho ba naganang ba ikutlwa jwang, ba batlang, you know. Ko sekolong mara ne ke bua gagolo. My teachers would always complain gore I'm too talkative. Mara ha ke le one like nek sa rata bua actually. I think ha ke le sekolong it was the excitement, the chomi, and I'd always want to speak to them because halitating fela I go home and they don't go home with me, so actually like, but I was very like involved. Ne ke rata etsa dilo, ne ba rata Roma, ne ke rata go fetola dipotso. Like they call me up to the board to like write things. Yeah, I was very interactive. Ke qadile ngwala grade 8. English teacher ka Miss Paula ko itse re ngwale a poem about your favorite thing. Ak sa khopolo re ke ngwetse ka eng, but I remember liking it. Ka qala ngwala my first short story. And I gave it to my friends, and they liked it. And kangwala my first play in the same grade. From there, kangwala more poetry and nikratongala. Like if we had oral in English, like the oral exam, I'd like researching the speech studying, choosing an interesting topic, like well written. In grade 9. You know, okay, this is the time which I think is too early. But I decided that, okay, this is what I know for real. But like, a writer is not very stable, like in my grade 9 head. And then, okay, a journalist. And then from there, that's when the passion of journalism, yakala, bala the newspaper, bala the magazines, kibonore. Then you know these people make a difference. So kabanore, okay, nagbatan too. keep it like UJ. I applied a BA in journalism, and my second option was a BA in education. Bamplela gore BA in journalism it leads, and now na space. So bankenya ko education, and I was like, kaita biology and English as my majors. Mara ne kutla gore gona le ntho e shotang. Like this is not my passion. Ke rata bana, ke rata ho ruta, mara journalism is my passion. So the next year I apply la journalism. And like it was exciting, like the range of subjects that I could study. Ne di khatlisa mara ha ke fitla go journalism ne ke utlwa nkare ne like a practical element. Ne ke utlwa nkare it was just too many theories, and you know ne re sa ngwale, like ne ke emetse ngwala a story and ne re sa ngwala di-story. So next I went to in Moya. So in my second year, I job shadow at the Star for 1 week. And when that week ended, I never could this thing. I go back, Jillian. She's the news editor. Sunday, because Kidula in Newtown, which is not far. So I Sundays. And Sundays, every Sunday I was there, and ka Sunday I never to babangata, so ka thola opportunity ya gore ke tsweka ditori ke ngwale like things that interest me, like ne bamphile like trust, bamphile le support, and bamponse gore it's so, and that's all I needed, because Kinka initiative there as a person. I'm a person on Kinka initiative who tries, who goes out and sees, you know, so their support and their help and their sort of like mentoring, it's a easy, speed. And I did that for a year. Mara never sampatal. Bampadi resources, like I can use the computers, I can use the cars, I can go as a photographer. Mara never sampatal. And as I keep on going bampatal, because nikibatla experience, nikibatla the practical of how this thing is done. So at the end of the year, governor, okay, ke batla apply go the company's cadet school, because of all my years in university, in the year that I was at the Star, ke tutile more than I have like in my whole life, and neke tabile, you know, it made me happy. You know, to help someone. Then lecturing and stuff like that. Interview where I'm going to find out if Kitlo Tola the permanent post for junior general reporter. Yatsusa is exciting, but I'm hoping to hear good news.
Ngithi intokazi kozidlala ngamagama ukusebenzisa ke umqondo wayo nepeni nephepha ukuhambisa umlayezo wayo. Khona manje kumele isebenzise umqondo wakhe nelimi lakhe ukuthi aconvince abantu ke abamnikeza ithuba lokuthi angene lapha ku training program yabo. Njoba ke sokunesikhundla esisha esivelile. Ngithi ngabe intokazi izophumelela, ngabe uzothola umsebenzi. Excuse me. Am I being the one interviewed? Nope, she is. So check this out.
Hi Lerato, how are you doing?
I'm well, Anna, how are you?
Good, fine, thanks. Okay Lerato, tell me a bit about yourself before we start going into deeper things, yeah? Tell me what your background is, what you studied to get to this job.
When I was in high school, in my grade 9, I decided that I want to be a journalist. And
Why?
Because I loved writing and I wanted to save the world. So I decided to be a journalist. And then the Cadet program was open for applications. And I thought, why not? And I applied, even though I hadn't finished my degree. And they took me.
Without a degree?
Yes.
Okay.
I know, right? They took me and I went through the Cadet program, 3 months in Cape Town, and then the rest of the time in the newsroom. And I enjoyed it immensely because I'd been in this newsroom before and it was like coming back home.
Okay, so tell me about the 2 years. You've been interning now for 2 years.
Yeah, the first year was the job shadowing year. And then in this year, last year, was the cadetship year. The last year where I was part of the cadetship program, it felt a lot more like I had to deliver, which is when I started like wanting a front page story and got a front page story.
What was your first front
Getting
page
front
story?
page stories.
Tell us about your first front page story.
That was very like surprising. I wasn't expecting for that story to be a front page story. Someone called in and was like, hey, I live in Eastgate, a bomb just went off. And I was literally the closest person to the receptionist when they called in, and they just gave it to me. I was like, oh, bomb, okay, car bomb. So I went to get a photographer, we went out. And when we got there, the police had just cordoned off the area. So what happened is that it looked like a bomb had gone off. The car had like exploded. So but when we looked closely, the car had actually had like, I think it was 12 cylinders in it. It was like a gun in a car. And it actually shot at another car that was parked opposite.
Like a movie.
In an attempt to kill someone. And that someone was Radovan Krecher.
And did you know at the time when you went out?
I didn't know like that it was an attempted murder. I didn't know it was Radovan Krecher.
Did you know about Radovan Krecher?
I didn't even know him. I was like, I got there and the lady who was the receptionist at the business next door was like, it's Radovan Krecher's car. I was like to the photographer, Radovan Krecher. He's like, oh my God. He was like freaking out. I was like, oh, okay.
And you're on your
And
biggest
then
story of the year.
Yeah, and I'm the first journalist. I'm literally the only journalist there. And I got a hold of my editor and I told her, oh, it was Radovan Krecher and this is happening. And before I knew it, they're like, we have a team in the office. They're working on like background information. And you just like give us what you have there, keep in touch with us and stuff like that. So it was very exciting. And Radovan Krecher took me into his office.
He
all of
himself?
his, like, yes.
Okay.
With like his like security dudes or his friends. And I was by myself for like a while and had
Were you
to like
nervous?
Of course. This guy was like had a hit on him and he was just like speaking in like a Russian type accent. I was like, oh my God. And I got back here and I had to write it with like the help of like Angelique and Sean because they had worked on Radovan Krecher stories before,
Many
so they
years.
had for many years. And then the next day it was on the front page. I was gliding.
I
through
heard
the
you
day.
shouting through the newsroom.
And I had it like this. Like I felt like everyone should know. Like it's big, it's front page.
All right, Lerato. You've finished your cadet program. You understand that even though you went through it, there's no job guaranteed.
I understand.
But we do have an opening now, and we'd like you to try for it. Just tell us briefly about the cadet program. As you said, it was 9 months, and what did you learn?
It
in
was very exciting because I got to work with other members of the cadet program who were as passionate about journalism as I am, and we got to meet a lot of people who are established in the journalism sort of field, like editors and authors, journalists, and we got to meet a lot of people that I probably wouldn't have met if I just went through the newsroom and sort of worked my way up.
So you're up against them. So what's going to make you special?
I think I have more experience in the group. Having worked in the newsroom environment for a year already sort of gives me a little upper hand.
Okay, you're going to prove it to us.
Yes.
We're going to send you on a story to Soweto with Vuyo, who'll be your mentor. And you'll come back and we'll talk about it.
Lerato o hatelletse a tlhalosa kgatlhego le lerato le neelo e a nang le yona ko mosebetsing. Mahaslas o kgone go sacrifice nako ya gage ka di Sundays le ka di holidays a ya mosebetsing gore a kgone go ithuta. Seo se supa maikemisetso. Ke rata kgatlhego le lethabo le a le bontshang mosebetsing. For a young hustler a sa thoma a fumane first page, seo se a thabisa ka nnete. Je ka ha a tshilo le ena ngwanana o lokela go ikemisetsa go etsa mesebetsi e leng gore ha o iratisisi gobane ke mo he o tla creator monyetla gore ka morago o etse mosebetsi o ratang. Journalism le news reporter di tla ka di careers tse ngata. Ka mora papatso re ilo sheba gore general reporter e tshwara yang ditaba ko mosebetsing. Hustlers ngithi nisawile sona iSpani bafethu sihleli nayo ke i-general reporter candidate yethu uLerato Bangeni oke ayi-cadet reporter laphana at the Star newspaper. Iphepha ke esithanda kakhulu khona la eGoli. Ngithi lentokazi ke akusisifunda amakhwela dlala ke ibhalela amaphepha ithola ama-front page news including ke nokukhuluma ke neyikhokhovu ngisho zona izikhulu ama-underground bosses. Mhlawumbe uyazibuza ukuthi kungani lentokazi ifuna ukuzifaka enkingeni engaka ake sole kabanzi ukuthi kahle kahle ulomsebenzi umalana nani ukuba i-general reporter. Ngithi bukela lento ngoba bangayibukeli ngizokubayisa ngizokuceba general translation ngithi ke I'm gonna report you. I am going to report you.
Umbuto lovamiswa kubuta umelulwe kwetemisebenzi kuthi uma ngiyinzatheli ngidoba nomsebenzi lojabulisako yini. Ngifunze emaphephandaba netincwadi letinyenti kanti ke futhi nekubhala ngiyakwati. Ngakho ngeke ngakucabanga nami kuba insatheli. Yebo kumnanzi kona kodwa insatheli noma umbeki uba nalacondzana nawo kude bunsatheli. Futhi ke bathi basebenta nje la ngephandle bahlanganyele emicimbini etside kanye nasekuxhumaneni nesive kwatisa sive ngaloku lokwendekako. Ivamise ukuthola lwati kulabo bamvula bababuta imibuto emihlanganweni yetindzaba kanye nekuhamba emicimbi lemikhulu yetindzaba. Bataho bese ke babuyela endlini yetindzaba kuyobhala tindzatshana tabo. Kumele bakwati kusebenta ngekushesha. Imvamisa ke tinsatheli tisebenta ngaphasi kwesikhathi lesikaliwe. Kanti ke labanye bona kumele basebente kuhlangabetane tikhathi letahlukene letikaliwe elangeni lelinye. Linyenti letinsatheli ke alibhali njengoma nabe ngini lefike engcondvweni. Imvamisa ke bayaye bacondzane nesihloko side njengemaphoyisa, inkantolo noma masipala kanye ke nalokunye nje kwelikhethelo njengetemidlalo kanye netemabhizinisi. Ngako kumele wati ngako konke lokho wena locondzane nako ngekucocisana labo losebenzisana nabo uphindze futhi utajwayede kufundza. Ubathi lapho khona bangakabheki ukuthi ube nelwati wena uvele ube nolone lwati ngaleso sihloko khona utots noma ubuta omuntu umehlubuto ukhona kubuta imibuto lehlakaniphile phindze ukwati ukutolika leyo ndzaba wendele ukuthi wonke umuntu akhona kuyicondzisisa kahle.
Difference between journalist le reporter ho tshwana fela ka ha o botsa difference between le ponisa le detective. Jeka ha re tseba re hona le mofuta e mengata ya di career ho journalist. Reporter yona e lokela go tobana le taba ene hape e hloka bokgoni bo itseng. Ba lokela go sebetsa ka potlako, ba lokela go ifumanela taba ya bona, ba lokela go sebetsa ka bonnete. Hobane tsela e bona ba utlwisisang taba ka teng ke tsela e le gore rona kaofela re ilo bala taba eo ka teng.
Bese uyalaphana ku-Twitter yethu bafethu ku@iSpani on SABC1 @iSpani on SABC1. Manje sisiyazi ukuthi intokazi akekho ozomvimba njengoba ke ayimisele ngempela ukwenza umsebenzi wakhe. Sothi masibuye emva kwekhe sihlangane naye ke naye iphotographer yakhe njengoba ke bayobhala istory esimnandi laphana about iband eMarimba ekuthi ishintsha impilo zabantu lapha emakhaya. Njengoba sithi melody yalapha ijeng jedi hotel eJameruba kapi jenje holo. Check this out.
Igama lami nguVuyo Mkhize ndisuka eGcuwa in the Eastern Cape. Ndafunda eQueenstown Girls High. Ndaya ke ngoku-tertiary yam e-University of Pretoria. Ndangena into journalism because I felt I had the power and the strength to tell people's stories, and it was really a passion of mine. I love meeting new people. I love telling their stories. And I'm interested, I'm curious about the world. I enjoy what I do, it's challenging to me. I enjoy that pressure, I enjoy challenging myself to produce the best that I can. Molo rato, njani?
Kishabuke?
Khona. Listen, baba imentor yakho namhlanje, ne? So, I came across this story, ne? It's actually quite great. It's about Isoweta Mariba Youth League. They're an organization that works with children, school children after school, teaching them about Marimba band music. And they managed to get 25 of the children into Monash University. So I was thinking that we should do a little page 3 story on them. Basically what I want is 400 words on their history, who they are, why they started. Go out to the photographer, you know, get them playing, just get a sense of who they are, and then build sort of a picture around who they are and what they do. And generally what I'm looking for here, it's just a story to uplift our readers, you know. We have so many crime stories, so many heavy stories in our paper. And I mean, aside from it educating people, I want people to feel inspired that they can do something with their lives, you know. I think that's the general story we're looking for. And I'd also like you to get some research done on other marimba bands in the country, if you know the history of marimba band, why it started to become so popular in the country. And yeah.
Cool. Won't that be too like heavy for page 3 if I'm doing context and history of marimba bands?
No, well, you'll just slot it in there. Just say, you know, this trend started in 2005, you know,
Or like famous marimba bands.
famous marimba bands would also do exactly.
Cool. I'm very imaginative, or I hope I still am, and I used to like escaping through the fiction books that I read. So it would always be another world, another country, another language, anything that is not like now, that is not like whatever I was, you know, living in reality. And so Harry Potter was perfect, and it was a gateway into the type. So I read widely, but it was always fiction. But now I have to deal with reality, which was a part that I struggled with a lot, because when you're reading fiction, you get to escape, but I'd always have to come back to real life and struggle, like every human being does, with real challenges.
From the time you pitch your story, depending on how long the story is going to be and what kind of story it is, it could be a feature, it could be an investigation. It depends the turnaround time, but because we're a daily newspaper, we're expected to produce daily. So from our 9 o'clock meeting, you're expected to produce by 4 p.m. or 5 o'clock, and that's our daily turnaround. Yes.
I'm done with the questions.
Okay, cool. So let's see where you are.
I did some research
Okay.
about the history of marimbas, but it's like I'm not going to use it a lot. I'm just going to use it for context and color and detail.
Okay.
And I went to the site. They have quite a great site, lots of information. And so I came up with a couple of questions. They have this thing about, it's called a AHA check. It's like homework, attitude, attendance check, where they do it every, like twice a month.
Okay.
And they get the kids to get involved in their schoolwork, if you don't pass the checks, you sort of like get suspended or get terminated. So I'm going to ask them to tell us more about that because that's very interesting.
I think she's making substantial progress. I mean, she's done some research online on the history of marimba bands, and she has also written up that research to form a bit of the story. So I think she's doing well. I think she's ready to go and interview the band, and I think she's on the right path actually to write the story.
Now going at like it's a research more than the writing. I think I'm better at research, or I enjoy it more. It's like digging and finding, and it's very important in the job that you do because just the other day, and you must find a way in a new way, in a fresh, with a fresh angle.
Lerato o shapo o na le leihlo la taba le go batla go batlisisa ene seo o se etsa ka potlako ene ke sona gape se mo thusitseng gore a gone go tla le dipotso mahaslas ha o shebile o ka bona o ka re o hwentse bonolo gobane o gone go neela nako ya hae gore a fumane bogone le tsebo ena anang le yona hopola gore se o se neelang ke se o tla se fumanang le wena ga e ka ba gona le se o batlang go ithuta sona ke tšwetse gore ha o ke tlo ke neela mosebetsing o ke neela o batla go ke tlosa level 8 itseng o ikise level 8 itseng ene di sacrifices tse nyane tse leng gore o lokela go di etsa ke tsone he di tla go tlisetsang ditlabe kgolo ka morago ka mora papatso Lerato yena o ile tlatsa masoba a research a yentseng ka bent yaneng pele a ka ngola article ya hage and later on ke lo araba dipotso tsa work experience gore o ka enka wa e formalize yang gore o fumane qualification ha re kopane ka mora sena.
Githi thulani lilalelisise njengoba ke silaphana eSoweto sihamba ke naye iCadet reporter yethu uLerato Bangeni ngithi lentokazi ngithi iqeda ukuqeda internship yayo laphana neStar newspaper siyathemba ukuthi uthando lwakhe nokuzimisela kwakhe ngamtholela esikhundla esisanda kuvela bafethu njenge permanent general reporter bafethu intokazi imatasatasa laphana ekhuluma ngodaba olumnandi laphana olumalana ke negroup ke ngisho nabo abothisha nawo umphakathi onceda intsha ukuthi suke emgwaqweni uyongena laphana kuma marimba band bafethu sesibonile ke interview ayishayile kodwa manje sifuna ukwazi about le group le enza umculo sifuna ukwazi bayenza umculo onjani nokuthi ke baqhasa abantu abanjani phinde futhi sikhulume lapha nesisipule ke ozabanikeza ulwazi about recognition of prior learning bafethu leli ke igama lesilungu nje esisetshenziswa ukuthi wena ke mosusebenza enkampani isikhathi eside bafethu ungenazo imfanelo uyakwazi kuya endaweni ethize ukuthi uyothola ke i-certificate esemthethweni ke esizokunceda ukuthi nawe ke ukhona ukukhuphuka kule nkampani okuyo.
So sometimes I have to do work from the office because it involves calling a number of people and emailing a number of people. That's usually when you have to get comments from spokespeople. But I actually prefer going out to the field, going to see people, visit families, get their stories, see them in their most comfortable environment. And yeah, that's what I prefer. Speak to one of you, like each of you one at a time. So I'll just sit here and you can sit here so that I'm not in your shot.
Just sit here and then go.
Oh, cool. So they get the light. So nilimplela that these kids got into Monash because Michael is teaching there for free.
Yeah.
So now, who's paying for the fees?
We are paying for the fees.
For 25 of them?
We are trying to pay for the fees, so we are trying to raise money to pay it's what it is.
And how do you do that? How do you raise funds?
Doing public performances on weekends, going like in the free markets, basking, selling our CDs and getting donations.
Okay. Where do your public performances take place besides the markets?
We usually go to Rosebank, the Zone, Cresta Mall, Carnival City Mall. Yeah.
And you make the money by people like leaving donations?
So like we put a donation box where people can put money, and we also sell the CDs.
How many CDs do you have?
We got 4 CDs.
And do you have one coming up?
We're expecting 2 soon.
Okay. Janang di CD keep guy.
It's 89 each, 150 for 2.
I read on your site that they learn to play by ear.
Yeah.
Why is that?
It's a unique thing. I was also taught by
Listening.
to music and then try to play what you hear. So it's like a food chain. So the kids live they took that via phones, MP3s. Yeah.
How did you start being a Smile music teacher?
I was one of the members.
What?
Committed
Okay.
to teach and then
Let's start there. I'll talk a little bit. We can enjoy Smile.
I was one of the members and then became.
Wait, before you were a member, when you were still just a kid, how did you hear about it? How did you become a member?
Actually,
What I think this story is about, actually, more than being a story about a band or the organization, I think it's a story of hope, because this organization actually has organized for matriculants, 25 matriculants, to get into university, and I think it's absolutely wonderful. It's a story of upliftment, and it's a story that will have other people thinking, geez, what can I do? You know, what can I do to uplift my community?
Please tell me about, is it the AHA check or the AHA check?
AHA check.
AHA check.
AHA check ilazivakashela kwisikolo check ukuthi bayabhala i-homework, attendance and attitude.
Nikhuluma nabo bani mani-check-a leyo nto? Ni-check-a ni-report, nikhuluma no-teacher wakhe or?
Normally sibonana nama-class teachers, nabo-principal and nama-subject teachers.
Cool, so you have a relationship with the
We
school.
have a relationship with their principals. We normally go around and introduce ourselves to our bigger schools.
And how do they feel about Smile? How much of your time, of your life, do you give to Smile? Ikayenza ukuthi a student afele and you guys had to kick him out of Smile. So you've never had to send a child away from Smile for any reason?
So Lerato covers a broad range of questions, which will give a fuller picture on the Marima Band and the stuff that they're doing with the children in Soweto. Ndiyavuya kakhulu. I think she's doing well.
I think I'm nearly done. Let me just check if I forgot anything. I'll just check up with Michael with everything that I haven't gotten. Haile story se my personal wishes are usually for people to take note of what this organization is doing and to help them in any sort of, because I think they're doing a very awesome thing and they're doing an amazing thing for these kids. So ke batla bana ba bathola exposure, whatever donations that they need, because people don't know about many of these like organizations and projects. So hari kenya pampiring batho ba tlo ibala ba ibone and then they'll know about it, and hopefully it will inspire something in people, either to help or to do something in their own way or to tell other people about it who could possibly help.
Lerato o kgona go tlotlisana, o warm hape o friendly. Eye contact e teng, o kgona go buisana le batho, le smile sa hae se supa kgatlego. Mahaslas attitude ke ntho e bohlokwa. Ha ona le mekgwa e metle, go ba bonolo for wena go sebedisana le batho ba bang. Ene le moga gore mekgwa e a tshellana bathong. Wena he, netefatsa gore ya hao mekgwa e metle, ene e molemo gore o kgone go tshella batho ba bang. Ha ile Lerato yena o se a fetotse information anang le yona ya research le ya interview into information before print deadline ya hae ya 4 o'clock.
Hustlers niyazi ngithi isifane sibuyile bafethu sihamba nabo-ke abantu abasasaza iy'ndaba bafethu kodwa hhayi asikhulumi ngabomamgobhozi sikhuluma ngabantu abama-professional bafethu wona-ke ama-general reporter bafethu alaphana e-The Star newspaper sihamba-ke nehasta lethu uLerato Mbangeni intokazi manje seshayile i-interview yakhe yaphinde futhi ashaya i-research yayo sokumele manje ihambe iyobhala i-article ene-deadline bafethu kumele ibhale-ke amagama awu-400 so kuyacaca ukuthi lana mfethu kumele uyazi into oyenzayo asamsibona intokazi njengoba-ke ishaya iSpani into engakutshela yona ukuthi kuzoshuba.
Whether they're twirling their marimba mallets in their hands or getting distinctions for maths, Smile students did with commitment, and that is how 25 of them got accepted at Monash University. Smile is a non-profit charity organization that teaches its members to play instruments such as the marimba while giving them academic support. I'm not focusing on the musical aspect of it, like what songs they play, how they learn, how they play the instruments. It's more of a story about the people, the kids, the organization, how it was started, the leaders, why they're doing it, their futures. It's more about people. So it's more social than it is artistic. Whereby if it was about music, I'd have to listen to the actual music for longer and say something about their CDs and how they play their live performances.
The article would be a 400-word article, and it would occupy significant space in the paper with the picture as well. And I mean, page 3 is a page for light-hearted stories, entertainment stories, as well as stories that are grabbing and exciting, you know. So I expect the story to be quite prominent on that page.
This organization is very important to the kids, because if it wasn't important to them, they wouldn't try so hard to make sure that their grades, their attendance, their homework is up to standard. Because that's what you have to do to stay in the band. And it seems important to the community because I'm sure parents can see the sort of positive influence that being part of the band has on their children and on their chances for getting into good schools, for getting their marks up, for being better people, well-rounded people as they grow. Based at Fort High School in Dobsonville, Soweto, Smile has 108 pupils who come from 24 different schools around the area. On a normal day, the members are picked up from their schools by a Smile bus and brought to Fort High for their maths lesson and band practice, and later dropped off at home. This happens from Monday to Thursday as well as on weekends. They perform at markets and in malls to raise funds. Through Smile, 25 band members were accepted to study at Monash University this year through the help of Michael Rui, the founding trustee.
Sister,
Rasha, how are you doing?
Hi Anna, I'm well and you?
Good. Welcome back. And how was the job?
It was very interesting. It was awesome speaking to the kids. They were very interactive and their music sounded beautiful.
Okay. So what do you think is important about the story?
I think that what they're doing is very beautiful, and we should tell stories like that to inspire people, to make them see that there is a lot of good coming out of high schools in Soweto, and how this program is giving these kids hope, which can translate in other kids gaining hope from it, or other similar organizations starting up.
All right. What angle do you see for the story?
Well, I want to present it as a social upliftment project that is giving hope to these kids, and what it's done for them in their lives, academically, personally, and what hope it gives them in their futures.
Okay.
Yeah.
What page would you like to see the story on?
Well, usually a story like this would end up on page 3,
Okay.
because the first 2 pages would be a bit heavy. So I think it will land on page 3.
And if it's not, if it gets put on page 9,
Oh, well, either way.
would you still be
Yeah,
happy?
yeah, I'm still happy. As long as the story is out there. Readers generally go through the first 11 pages, I hope. So, yeah, it would be good still.
All right. Good. I've discussed it with Vuyo, and she said she's very happy with the way you work and you interact with the people, and you've the interview with the kids. And I think you've got quite a promising future.
Yeah.
But I think it does put you in the running for the job. And we'll see how it goes once the story appears.
Thank you.
Have you got any questions?
If I do get the job, what other tasks would I have to do as a permanent reporter that I don't really take up now?
Anything and everything, including stuff that nobody wants to do. We are made to do stories that we don't like doing, but it's part of the job.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, and good luck.
Hey there. It's been an awesome and interesting day. I really hope that my story makes it into the paper and that it does make a difference. And I really want to get this job because I think it would make such a big difference in how I live and how my family live, and it will inspire my younger siblings. And on that note, presa, pusha, panda.
With our youth empowered, we can never go wrong. With our youth developed, their capabilities, their potential, this country is on the rise and rise. Ngithi umuntu uyaphezulu ke on the rise. Uyena ke olrathi njengoba sithala la kuyena asitholele umsebenzi. Uyazi kulohlelo bafethu silethela izinto ezintsha. Asamthi hlangana nosisipula ke azabanceda ama-hustlers wethu. Yena ke obafana ngisho naye ke uphanda 53. Abafuna ukwazi bangathatha kanjani experience abayithole lapha emsebenzini bayoshintsha bayiconvert into a certified qualification bafethu. Ingakho ngithi ngidonsa zonke intambo ngithumela kuwena sisipula njengoba siyiconverta lento.
dipotso tsa rona ka jeno di tswa ko batho ba ileng gore ba na le work experience empa ba tlhoka formal training. Potso ya pele e tswa ko bafana a re o na le 5 years experience a etsa metal assembly empa o tlhoka certificate. Bafana se o ka se etsang o ka nka work experience ya hao o etse artisanal qualification through program e re bitsang recognition of prior learning. Yona di criteria tsa rona di re o tlhoka 3 to 5 years experience lefapheng le itseng mo e leng gore o fumane bokgoni le botsebi. Ba ile go etsa assessment ha ba fetsa ba go credit ha e ka ba wa phomella. Potso ya bobedi e tswa ko Phanda, yena a re o entse training ya leadership ya electrical empa ha ana bopaki ba qualification. Phanda, still program ena se e tla se etsang ba ile etsa assessment according to unit standard ya NQF. Ha ka ba wa phomella ya batla go credita empa gopola gore ba ile go neya 50% e setseng o tla ithutela yona. Seo se o thusa gore o hafola nako le tšhelete. Ha ka ba o batla go ngata ka sena, checkela SAQA kapa SETA Training Institution kapa ya websiteng ya rona for more details. Ha re mane ko African Leadership Academy re ilo bona gore our other hustler Lerato o re tshwaretseng.
My name is Lerato Rameti from Alexandria, South Africa, and I'm 18 years old. I started a community center at the age of 15 when I was in grade 9. In my community, Alexandria, I realized that there was no opportunity for teenagers such as myself to do things after school instead of just walking around on the streets. So this center is aimed at keeping children or teenagers entertained after school and helping them achieve their goals, helping them with their academic lives, and helping them realize what life is for teenagers. So basically this center was supposed to be a support system by people the same age as you are and also by adults that were there. To fund this project, I started off at school. I went up with a group of friends and decided to make just one theatre skit, and we made a play where we got parents and other people around the community to just pay 10 rands to come see us play. And from then on we started doing more things like cake sales and baking sales, and we started small with the renovating, like buying paint or just getting windows fixed. So with every project that we did or any play or entertaining thing that we did, we took that small amount of money to fix the center. At this center, it started out as nothing, and I had to work very, very hard with people the same age as I am to get money to make sure that we could renovate a center, an old building that was literally nothing. So we worked very, very hard to renovate the center, and finally, a year later, we managed to open it. I'm proud of our achievements because as soon as we opened that center, we realized a massive change in my community. We had a drama club at the center, we had a dance club, we had even tutoring and a computer program that children could interact with, and where we saw or thought to see that academic grades were going up and people grew a passion for academics and education in the community. So I'm just really proud that teenagers can finally see that education is an important aspect in their lives and that doing something for themselves is also important, and it's self-lifting as well.
Ngithi another one bites the dust bafethu njengoba ke sifike ekuphetheleni kohlelo lwethu lanamhlanje. Ngithi uyazi sizenzile indaba ezinkulu sihamba naye uLrato njengoba laphana at the Star newspaper. Yazi abafundi bale paper bazolazi legama la kaLrato kunesikudala. Sikhuluma ke ngekusasa ngihlangana nathi kuviki elizayo siphethele icareer enye entsha ebizwa ngokuthi electrical engineering. Mina umfana kaMntambo sengicedile umsebenzi ngithi ngidonsa zonke intambo sengiphuma kanje. Ngithi nawe ke mofisi ukuthi impendulo zakho ziphendulwe. Ngithi uyazi mele uhlangana nathi kuphi ku Facebook na ku Twitter bafethu. Ku Facebook, just click on like ukhulume nathi Canada. Ku Twitter is @iSpani on SABC1, @iSpani on SABC1. Noma ke usambe lapha uyosivakashela ku website yethu ku www.ispani.co.za ukhulume nathi Canada. Mina ngizohlala ngikutshela boy, ngithi press push phanda boy, ungaphela umoya, faka umoya, and remember, don't look down, look up and stay up. I'm out.